Shields up, Ironbreakers. How's everybody doing this fine, what day is today? Wednesday afternoon. So today's going to be a little bit of a different stream. I'm going to be checking out a lot of stuff about Remnant because, you know, like I've always been mentioning, time has been something that has not been on my side and that is getting worse and worse. But I definitely wanted to do a bit of a deep dive on Remnant 2 before the game launches, which it is going to be launching on the 21st, 22nd, something like that, because even though the official launch is like the 25th of July, there's actually a couple of caveats to that. We're going to be talking about that. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Hopefully you're all doing good. And if you happen to be watching the VOD later, and if you're watching the live stream right now, and these types of videos are something that you like, then make sure to hit the like button because that really helps me out. And it'll also let me know, hey, you guys kind of like these deep dives done live, because I think it can be interesting to basically go over all of the things that we know so far about Remnant. And hopefully for the people that still don't know that much about Remnant, and you guys are maybe curious and like, oh, I don't know if I want to dive into this or not, maybe this will answer some of your questions as well. Now, the original Remnant, which was called Remnant from the Ashes, is actually a game that I really enjoyed. There's like, I think it's probably three or four videos about Remnant from the Ashes here on the channel. One of those videos is a little bit more negative. It is in regards to I think it was the last DLC that they did for Remnant. Because, yeah, that DLC on PlayStation ran like complete ass. And I also heard from some people that on PC it wasn't doing that much better. So, yeah, there were some problems there. But the base game was absolutely solid. And I had an absolutely phenomenal time playing the game. And I would highly recommend, you know, maybe you're thinking about, oh, should I play Remnant ahead of Remnant 2? Most definitely. If you've never played it, you should definitely check it out. It is a solid game, and I would recommend it. I don't know how the DLC is nowadays, so my recommendation extends to the base game. I'm not sure about the two DLCs that came with it, because, yeah, my experience with those was, yeah, it was not great. It was not very good. But anyways, Remnant 2 is coming out, and one of the things that I wanted to check out right off the bat, because it's one of the things that we got to talk about, is we're going to go into the editions, because as we know, nowadays, every game has multiple editions, and this game is, in fact, doing the same thing that Diablo 4 did, and this is something that Ubisoft, I don't know if Ubisoft were the first ones doing it, but I know that Ubisoft has done it, Microsoft has done it, Blizzard has done it. To an extent, even Final Fantasy XIV does it, because if you pre-order Final Fantasy XIV, you also get a couple of days head start. Although, in 14, I don't have as much of a problem with it, because it is a pre-order and not necessarily pay extra money. Whenever it comes to paying extra money for playing the game early, I hate it. I friggin' hate it, but let me tell you, as a content creator, I'm going to do it. I don't give a damn. Like, I've requested a code. If they don't send me a code, I'm going to get the Ultimate Edition, whatever. The Ultimate Edition costs $70, I believe. We can actually check that out right here. As you can see, Ultimate Edition, Early Access, play the game 3 days early. This is the reason why I said, even though the game launches on July 25th, most likely midnight, July 21st, at least in my local area. Maybe in the US it's going to be different or whatever. But it's probably going to be around the evening of July 21st that the game is actually going to launch for people that get the Ultimate Edition. Although, since this is not an MMO game, I'm not sure if I would recommend people to get like all up in arms about the whole thing. I don't like the practice, but maybe it's not going to be as big a deal. You also get survival packs, so 2 Mud Tooth Elixir EXP bonuses. I hate this type of stuff. I really wish they wouldn't do this. But anyways, Bloodroot, 3 ammo boxes, 1,000 scrap, 10 iron. In case you guys are wondering what ammo boxes are about, your ammunition is limited, at least in the original Remnant. The ammunition was limited, which meant that you would need to carry around ammo boxes to kind of like replenish yourself. I believe that ammo boxes worked for both players, because this is a co-op game. And, oh, looks like the Ultimate Edition also includes 3 DLC packs, which they haven't really talked about. So it's kind of like a season pass type of deal. You know, it is what it is. Then you have the standard edition, which is just the basic game, and the deluxe edition, which comes from with some early armor sets. That's another thing that I'm not a big fan of. I don't know if these are just cosmetic or if it's actually, you know, if these actually matter for anything. But yeah, I'll let you guys know on release or if we find additional information about that. But yeah, that's kind of like how it goes. It is what it is. Oh yeah, Todd Field is doing it too. I mean, Todd Field is kind of like, I mean, Bethesda is now kind of like a part of Microsoft, so, you know, it is what it is. So let's see what their description is. Unimaginable worlds, unrelenting odds. Remnant 2 has sealed the best-selling game, Remnant from the Ashes. Is it a bestseller? I mean, I hope it is, because it was a pretty good game. That pits survivors of humanity against new deadly creatures and godlike bosses across terrifying worlds. Play solo or co-op with 2 other friends to explore the depths of the unknown to stop an evil from destroying reality itself. To succeed, players will need to rely on their own skills and those of their team to overcome the toughest challenges and stave off humanity's extinction. Basically, this is a third-person shooter. For those of you that are not aware, let's see what they say about combat. Intense Remnant combat experience, mix of methodical and frenetic, ranged melee combat. Yeah, there was a little bit of melee in there. I don't know how much melee there is in this one. We're going to be watching some gameplay that they have on YouTube, and I'll be doing my commentary over it, so we'll see what that is about. In terms of cunning enemies and large-scale boss battles. The boss battle is pretty cool overall. Choose specific gear and weapons to optimize for the different biomes and battles ahead. Yeah, you basically get to do builds in this game. Bosses will bring high-level players to team up to overcome the challenge and try to obtain the biggest rewards. Also got worlds. New worlds to explore. Yeah, sure. Archetypes. Ooh, these are the classes. New archetypal progression. Each archetype has its own independent progressions that unlocks exclusive and unique gameplay features with a signature archetype trait, plus archetype perks and skills. There are also videos for each of these, so I'm going to be watching over those. Endless replayability. Yeah, the original game had procedural generation. I'm assuming this does the same thing. Branching quest lines, augments, crafting, and loot rewards will test the resolve of even the most hardened players in dynamically generated dungeons and areas. Playthroughs will feel challenging, varied, and rewarding as players succeed against unforgiving odds. Various stories are woven throughout the different worlds, encouraging exploration and multiple revisits. AQ, what's up? You going to be playing Remnant 2? I hope you do, dude. That should be fun. An original game, armor gave stats, you could buy skins. Yeah, Silly B, I remember that. All right, now, we actually have a bunch of footage to go over, and I'm going to be watching all of it, and I'll be pausing through, so if you want to watch the original videos, just go to the official channel, check that stuff out. But I'm going to be pausing throughout and giving you my thoughts as we watch these, so let's get started. We'll start with the official announcement trailer, see what that's all about. Ooh! This video may be inappropriate for some users. Uh-oh. Age restriction? Damn, son. We going deep. Will we be playing on launch day? Yes. Wait a minute. Really? Copyrighted music straight off the bat? That's kind of evil. Why you gotta be doing me like this? I'm not playing copyrighted music. Let's see. We'll just play this. The visuals are looking pretty... Ooh, look at that mega boss, bro. Yeah. Is that like a drum shotgun? That looks good. Ooh, my man's got the whirly gig. It's gas coin with a triple whirly gig saw. Aw, give us a hug. He just wants a hug. Look at him. He's like the cutest thing. He's like, oh, I just want a hug. Hug me. You know what was the best part about that? Is how he just completely destroyed that bow man. You see him destroy him? Look, dude's gonna, oh, I got a little bow. I got a little bow. Give us a hug, mate. Jesus Christ. Then he stabs him. Oh, hi. You're in the thumbnail. Let's see if the audio's changed. Yep, still same thing. Dude! Is that a moving, gaping dragon? Look at him. He's so happy. He's like running around. I'm loving the design of these creatures, dude. It's really cool. Wait, I remember her. She was in the final DLC of Remnant. My memory's not that good. I was actually rewatching my my last Remnant video earlier today. That's a big ass rat. Bro, what I'm loving is like how smooth the frame rate looks. The gameplay is looking very smooth. I wonder how they're doing scaling. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty friggin' good. And this is definitely going to be something that we're going to be playing. Someone took the gaping drag joke too far. Did have quality time with it, yeah. Yes, this is a direct sequel story-wise. Okay. So next they started showing classes. Maybe we'll save the classes for last. Because I want to check out some of this other stuff. Let's take a look at the world of Yaisha. I think that these are like different worlds. Yeah, we have Yaisha, Losmondran. Oh, it's Losamon and Fate. Oh, these are like two. There's multiple worlds, and each world will have like different locations. Okay, let's start with Yaisha. And okay, these are archetypes. Okay, we'll start with this. Every one of these videos is age gated. They shouldn't have. I don't think that this is that bad that you need to be age gating everything. This is probably self-flagged, and to be honest, they shouldn't have done it. That was not smart. That was not a smart thing to do. These levels are looking pretty cool. That bird's probably a boss fight. Oh, look at the root. They're having so much fun. These guys have definitely learned a lot since the last one. Let me lower the volume here, it's a little bit loud. They've definitely learned a lot since the last one. This looks way better. We'll see, Ark, we'll see. It's not your average Souls game, it's Gun Souls, yeah. Let's have a look at one of the other ones. Oops. The hell? Oh, I messed up. My bad. Fix it real quick. Jesus, how low do you have to go to get to the official channel? There we go. I had everything set up properly and then I messed it up. Okay, so we had Yaisha. Let's take a look at Drawn. Oh, Drawn is more like London. Got some Bloodborne aesthetic going on. Everybody's going to be calling this one the Bloodborne world. I like that map. That map's looking hella good. Then we got... Well, this is from the same world. It's Lawsome Drawn and then Lawsome Fae. Fae, I would imagine, would be more like in the forest and stuff like that. Oh, it looks like Drawn, but taken over by nature. That's a nice looking axe you got there, buddy. She's totally not just a boss fight. 100%. Why does it look so damn clean? Yeah, because they did a good job. It's looking really good. I like what I'm seeing. These worlds are looking so friggin' clean. Then we have Ward 13 and Labyrinth and Nerude. Let's start with this. Interesting, Nerude only has 1080p. I mean, Ward 13. This is where you began the game, if I remember correctly. This is where you began the game in the original Remnant. Now the Labyrinth, I don't remember anything about the Labyrinth. Do I? No, I do remember. You go there shortly after you begin the game even, I think. There's like a portal that takes you there. Looking pretty good. Let's have a look at that Neruda. Neruda. These are the Geth. Nasty crawly boys. I don't want those. Thing looked like a giant fly. Tech mixed with bugs? The audio on this one's lower than the other ones. I think this is the one I like the most so far. But then again, I'm usually biased towards sci-fi looking places. So this one looks really good to me. Let's check out their introduction to the world of Remnant.
Humanity's thirst for knowledge led to our greatest triumph and our ultimate downfall. We opened the door to worlds beyond our comprehension, but from that door, an unimaginable evil called the Root slipped through and destroyed everything. A couple decades back, we dealt the Root a heavy blow. Bought ourselves some time.
We killed the Dreamer.
We rebuilt as best we could. Licked our wounds and forged a path forward, step by step. But our time is running out. Everything is prey to the Root.
We have
and
a Deckard
as long as
King
they
now.
exist, we will always be hunted.
I don't remember him from the first game.
That's where you come in. We need you to journey to some dangerous yet wondrous worlds and stop the Root once and for all. To survive, you'll need to push every skill you've got to its limit. But we don't just need you to survive. We need you to prevail. Use whatever gear you can find. Modify your weapons with what you can scrounge up in your travels. And be smart. Bring the backup you need. We're counting on you, traveler. Stop this infestation before it extinguishes the last flickering flame of humanity. If you fail, well, let's just say, failure isn't an option. Our future is in your hands now. Without you, everything we know and love will fall to ash.
The ambition on this one is because, like, the original Remnant was a much more modest game. Like, it wasn't, you know, on the cutting edge of visuals or even gameplay. It was just like a really solid game. You jump in there, you shoot some dudes, you have a good time, you make a build, kill some bosses, and then you can kind of like go again because it's procedural generation. You can keep on having fun with that. So it was a solid game, but it wasn't anything that like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever, right? This one feels like a much more ambitious project. Like they're really coming in and like, no. First one was learning, like we learned this, and now, bam, we're slamming our We're slamming our nuts on the table and we're going to like, here you go. Boom. This is what it looks like when we got proper budget and whatnot. And that's not to say that the first one wasn't good. The first one was great. But this one just looks, again, way more ambitious, dude. Remnant on Switch runs surprisingly good. That is extremely surprising considering how the damn thing ran on PS4. Because like I actually held the box in my hand yesterday. The Switch game. Like I was thinking about buying it, and then I was like, I don't know, man. This thing didn't run very well on PS4. I don't know about that. Let's take a look at this gameplay. Is it narrated? Looks like it's just raw gameplay. Okay, so let's take a look at the UI. First, let me adjust this so that YouTube doesn't automatically. So this right here will be your potions. I don't know what the other item is over there. It's probably some other item that you can use. The map now has an almost Metroid-y look to it. You have your guns here on the bottom right. Very clean. You have your health and probably your stamina below that. This looks like a companion of some kind. You have a dog that's a companion. We'll take a look at the dog because there's a dog video. Micah Fresh, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Yeah, we got Doggo. Okay, so the dodge looks very similar to what we had. Ooh, you can actually command the dog to do things. Gameplay feels very much in line with what we had in the first one. He's got duels? He's got Wolverine claws for melee? New trait acquired, Pack Hunter. Yeah, I remember the way that you play the game is unlocks different traits for your character. Which is probably why he's ordering the dog all over the place. He's probably trying to unlock traits. Looks pretty smooth. Long gun ammo. Oh, I remember that. I think this game is way more fun in co-op, though I will say that. Because I remember playing it, and solo was definitely not as interesting as in co-op. My concern then is I wonder how they scale. So like, what if you team up with a player that's 20 levels above you with Giga Legendaries? Is just going to carry the game? CW Volcanius morning, never played Remnant, only able to get one game, stuck choosing between Remnant 2 and Exoprimal. Watch my gameplay and then make your decision. I'm going to be playing both. Zoltaker, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat, appreciate the support, thank you.
Glad that's over.
You can pet the dog. If you can pick the breed of the dog, I want a Chihuahua. So this looks like it's a different archetype. Dude's got a big-ass sword. I can't wait to check out those class videos. Not class, archetype videos, sorry. Get blasted. he can chop off their legs and they fall off. That guy's gonna AoE explode. That was pretty obvious from the way they looked. Oh, the poison, dude. I remember going through one of the early levels in the original game, and I literally couldn't advance because you kept getting the poison prompt. So I would kill things, but they would keep spawning, and then I would kill them again, and they would just keep dropping more and more clouds of poison. I remember I think I was playing co-op with Kegrin. I don't remember if I was streaming or not. I think I was streaming, and we couldn't advance because there were just more and more things spawning, and we'd keep killing them, and they'd keep making more and more clouds of poison that wouldn't let us move. Holy crap. That's pretty beast. I'd love to go for a shot. This weapon's like... Oh, you can revive yourself. I mean, this archetype can revive itself. I don't think every archetype can. But this weapon has some kind of like firing mode that lets it do some type of force thing that pushes stuff away. And come on, you gotta kill the summoner, bro. What are you doing? Showing everybody that the summoner can keep regenerating them until you... Yeah. I think anyone that's played the original Remnant is going to have some level of PTSD with the status effects. They were friggin' gnarly. Like in a lot of games, you can ignore status effects, not in Remnant, bro. That is really intricate. I'm really digging the level design. This is straight up horror vibes. Assuming you're slowed down for being in the water. Oh, this is gonna be a good time. You called me Black Lung. Yeah, of course. You had Black Lung back then. What the crap was that? Excuse me. He's doing... This looks like some type of gunslinger trait or whatever. Just like pulling back the hammer and spam shooting. It didn't even spend... Actually, that didn't even spend ammunition. Watch. Yeah, it's a special attack. Oh, I like that. I'm digging that gunslinger class. Also, I'm digging that hat. You know I'm going to be rocking that hat the whole playthrough. It is what it is. Oh yeah, this is looking like it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Why are those not dealing damage when they hit? Because they hit him quite a few times, didn't deal any damage. God mode. Big boy incoming. Hello! Mother Mind. Man, the weapon design is also looking really cool. I like that type of reloading rifle. Rifle, shotgun, whatever that is. It's more like a rifle, yeah, with that type of reticle. Whoa! Don't stand in the poop. The camera shaking, also a nice little effect without being too overwhelming. Yeah, lever action. Ooh. Quest complete. Cordyceps? Really? Cordyceps? Alright. Fair enough. That gameplay is looking hella good. I really like what I'm seeing. Let's take a look at the co-op trailer.
We have no choice. The root will destroy everything.
It's only in 30 FPS.
Time.
I probably need to mute because of the goddamn copyrighted music, I think. I don't know if this is copyrighted though.
No turning back after this. You sure?
Holy... Bro, did you see that thing? Look at that. Look at the animations on this thing. It's gonna grab him and watch. Oh my god, that is really cool. This has to be Matrix inspired, this one. Okay, look, I'm giga biased on missions like these where you're jumping on a moving train, you're moving from platform to platform while fighting bad guys. I don't know why, but I'm very biased to these types of missions. I got all hyped up. See, I told you guys that Narude was gonna be my favorite looking place, and it definitely is. What the hell is that? It's a Katamari. God damn, dude. Okay, let's take so the next ones would be the class videos, which I want to watch, but before that, I want to take a look at something else. So Kegrin sent me a couple of links here about some stuff from the game. And one of them's talking about difficulty. And difficulty, as you all know, is always something very important. So I'm going to check it out. This is from, I believe he's the director, if I'm not mistaken. Ben Keirtown. He is principal designer at Gunfire Games on Remnant 2. With Remnant 2 right around the corner, it's important to remind players that it's a challenging game meant to test your resolve and reward your perseverance. Yes, this is not an easy game. Survivor difficulty is the core experience, which is great for most players. It is not easy by any stretch, as it has been designed and balanced to be tough but fair. Veteran is a bit more demanding. Enemies are deadlier without being too tanky. This is an excellent starting difficulty for players that want a more challenging initial experience. I think this is probably going to be where I start. Nightmare is tough, super punishing with extremely durable bosses, so bullet sponges. We certainly don't recommend it as a starting difficulty, but we know there are many players out there up for the challenge, so it's there for the taking. It's also important that you just let players choose. If you're going to have all these difficulties, then whatever. Apocalypse is where you test everything you've learned and everything you've obtained along the way. It is designed for well-thought-out builds and clean play. Bosses are incredibly deadly and durable. Don't blink. Apocalypse difficulty is unlocked after beating the game on any difficulty. PSA, don't worry about what difficulties other players choose. Pick what's best for you. When you feel up for a tougher challenge, you can re-roll the campaign or a new adventure on a higher difficulty anytime you like. Yeah, you can also toggle hardcore mode right from the start. Of course, you might want to save it for when you're a bit more familiar with the game. Bro, they're gonna have hardcore mode. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Solid starting point for most players. I think I'm starting on veteran most likely. I like having a bit more risk reward. Nightmare, I would definitely. I'm definitely not doing Nightmare. I'm not willing to go through that. And then Apocalypse, they just say good luck. A couple of things that I'd like to know more is how are you going to tackle this in terms of co-op. Like, I think that there was scaling in terms of the mobs and whatnot. So like if you're 2 players in there, mobs will get tougher, kind of like what you see in Diablo and whatnot. And I think there were also more spawns when there were 2 players in there. But I'm curious in regards, what if somebody comes in and it's like 20 levels above you or something like that? How does that work out? And apparently there's something called mutators. I'm assuming this is going to be kind of like Mythic Plus in World of Warcraft and the dungeons and whatnot, maybe. This guide will delve into a new element of Remnant 2 gameplay, the mutators, exploring their functionality and impact on players' combat tactics. Even though official details about mutators in Remnant 2 are sparse, we've put together some valuable insights based on discussions from the official Remnant 2 Discord server. Tragic, as they are known in the Discord, is from the dev team and gave out the following details that we've summed up below. Mutators in Remnant 2 are akin to weapon enhancements. Oh, never mind. Weapon enhancements that can be leveled up to a maximum level of 10. Upon reaching this level, they provide a second bonus effect, just like the armor set bonuses of the original game. Mutators provide buffs to the equipped weapon. They can be attached to both ranged weapons and melee weapons. A hypothetical melee mutator could initially offer a lifesteal effect against bleeding opponents, and at the maximum level grant the ability to apply bleed status on charge attacks. A specific example was given, which was the bandit mutator that replicates the effect of the bandit armor set for a single firearm. Players can acquire mutators by defeating aberrations, as they can be leveled up using materials obtained from these same foes. Interestingly, even though mods can alter the appearance of the weapons, mutators do not affect the weapon aesthetics. Another key aspect is that while boss/special weapons have non-swappable mods, they can still be equipped with mutators. Sounds interesting. So basically, you equip something onto your weapon, you will play with that weapon and level it up, but it does require you to kind of like focus on that weapon. So this is going to be more of a end game type of system, I would imagine. Another example given in the Discord, which told of a mutator that could act like a momentum from Remnant 1. At the start, ranged critical hits would increase over the ranged critical hit chance and damage by 1.5% per stack, stacking up to 10 times over 3 seconds. As the mutator levels up, This bonus can be incrementally increased by another 1.5 over 10 levels, up to a maximum of 30%. At the max level, the bonus effect could be that ranged critical hits at 2 stacks instead of 1, accelerating the rate of buff accumulation and increasing duration by an additional 2 seconds. According to Tragic, there are more mutators than armor skills from Remnant 1. You can have 3 in total, 1 in each of your melee, ranged, and special/boss weapons. Remnant is releasing for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, and PC. It's weird that they're releasing... I still think that it's weird that the original Remnant is releasing on the Nintendo Switch. And then, you know, why does this make sense to have Remnant on a Nintendo Switch when you can't have Remnant 2? It's a little bit weird. Makes me wonder if they already have Remnant 2 planned for the next generation Nintendo console that we'll eventually be getting. But yeah, that is very interesting. Now I want to check out some of these classes. Archetypes even. Gunslinger Archetype reveal trailer.
In Remnant 2, archetypes are the foundation of every build. They're the first and most important choice when it comes to designing how you want to play. This is Tragic from Gunfire Games, introducing the Gunslinger. When it's time to bring guns to a gunfight, it's time for the Gunslinger. They're the master of high fire rate, weapon handling, and ammo efficiency. Their role? Pure damage. The Gunslinger perks are designed around maximizing DPS. They keep the offense rolling with quick reloads, blistering weapon swaps, and constant ammo generation. The cornerstone of their perks is the Prime, Loaded. It automatically reloads both guns when an archetype skill is activated. In a heated battle, a well-timed skill activation keeps the lead flying. And skills are where the Gunslinger really shines. Their first skill, Quick Draw, unloads their hidden 6-shooter and auto-targets nearby enemies. It's the perfect skill to leverage their prime perk. Their second skill, Sidewinder, cranks up aiming movement speed, weapon swap speed, and automatically reloads weapons when you switch to them. When you want sustained damage while weaving in and out of incoming fire, Sidewinder is a must-have. Their third skill, Bullet Storm, makes every firearm fully automatic, boosts fire rate, and ramps up reload speed. When it comes to burst
every
damage,
weapon is
Bullet
automatic.
Storm makes the damage rain. Rounding out their kit is the Archetype trait, Ammo Reserves. It increases total ammo capacity, so you never have to worry about running dry. A great unlock for any Archetype combo. Players who love gameplay with a heavy emphasis on shooting will love the Gunslinger. When it comes to overwhelming the enemy with a truckload of bullets, accept no substitute.
So, if I'm getting this right, the way that archetypes are going to work is you play the archetype and you unlock some traits that basically can be used with other archetypes, Kegrin. Is that the vibe that I'm getting? So then you can swap archetypes to another archetype and you can combine traits from Gunslinger. So ideally, you want to play all the archetypes, kinda.
They're the first and most important choice
At level 10, the perk unlocks. So you want to play at least all of them until
when
level
it comes
10.
to designing how you want to play. This is Tragic from Gunfire Games. Introduce.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. So basically, you make your own class based around that. So it's just about how well they're able to balance. Well, it's not even about how well they're able to balance all these because you're going to have access to all of them, I would imagine. The handler and best friends. What? We haven't seen this one yet. What's this about?
You can lead
Hey,
me
Gory.
into parts unknown and
That sounds copyrighted. So this is just like a trailer for the dog. Which I'm assuming is part of the handler archetype. I don't know if I'd be into a pet type class in this one. Let me see. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be getting copyright claimed there. I mean, the way that I was playing the original Remnant, I actually had a build where you'd summon like 2 little balls of meat with claws that would keep attacking, and then I would also have these machine guns. I think that those were items that you would get, like rings or something, but I'd be able to summon up these turrets from the ground, and that's what I do. I just like summon my little 2 dudes that would just like chop, 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 and 2 machine guns that would keep firing. Boosh. Get him, doggo. I just feel like having to micro the dog could be problematic. Because you're focusing on third-person shooting. And then, oh, he's going to res her. It's okay. This'll fix you up. Ah, thanks, boy. You guys know that dog saliva can instantly heal you? Makes perfect sense. Wish they could prove me wrong, but Remnant 2 for now to me looks more like a DLC for Remnant from the Ashes. Are you insane? Jesus Christ, no shot, dude. This looks like a completely different game. I hardcore disagree with that stance. Okay, let's take a look at the handler class then. So far, the gunslinger looks solid. Let's take a look at the handler.
Venturing into the apocalypse alone can be daunting, so bringing a friend is always a good idea. This is Tragic from Gunfire Games, introducing the Handler. In Remnant 2, the Handler and their loyal companion work together to take down the toughest enemies through cooperation and friendship. As a jack of all trades, this duo brings a bit of everything to any team. Their perks are designed for utility. They boost movement and revive speeds and allow the entire team to move swiftly as a pack.
So they're kind of like
as a
support
bonus,
type
when the
class.
companion is near the handler, they automatically heal over time. The speed of the heal can be greatly increased by showing your friend some love. Good boy. The cornerstone of the handler's perks is the Prime Bonded. This allows the companion to automatically revive the handler with the handler's own relic. It can also be used to revive downed teammates. Unlike other archetypes, the handler slots behaviors, which modify the companion and grants them unique passive buffs and activatable skills. The handler doesn't have traditional archetype skills, but instead uses commands to instruct their companion on the battlefield. With commands, you can instruct your companion to attack, call them back to your side, and even
so
have them guard an ally.
microing the dog is not as big a
Most
deal as I
importantly,
thought, because
you
it's
can
basically
also
your
instruct
spell.
them to activate their special howls. Their first behavior, Guard Dog, passively causes the companion to draw more aggro and take less damage. Their howl, Guard Dog.
Dog companion will follow the player. The companion gains 15% increased threat, and all damage to them is reduced by 20%. Single press companion engages enemies near the targeted location. Double tap returns to the handler, remains by the side. Hold howl reduces the... Okay, so that's how it works. That's cool. That's actually not a... I thought it was going to be a problem to micro the dog. It's not problematic at all if this is the way that it works. It's like when I first saw the gameplay footage, I was seeing dude go like constantly whistling to the dog, and I was thinking to myself, oh, that's probably going to be some crazy annoying D-pad input while you're in the middle of a firefight. Screw that. But no, if it's your actual skill, and depending on how often you tap it, it's not a problem at all. It actually sounds pretty friggin' fun. I like this class a lot.
Passively causes the companion to draw more aggro and take less damage. Their howl greatly increases aggro generation and grants the entire
He's
team
like the
a
bard.
defensive buff for a short period of time. Their second behavior, Support Dog, passively grants a heal over time to any nearby ally.
No. I need to watch everything, bro.
Their second behavior, Support Dog.
Companion continuously heals allies within 3.5 meters for 0.25 of max health per second. Single press engages enemies. Double tap returns. Howl grants 2% of max health per second and 25% increased movement speed to all allies. It's got a 90-second cooldown, though.
passively grants a heal over time to any nearby ally. Their howl boosts the effectiveness and size of the heal. Their third behavior, Attack Dog,
Companion gains 20% damage, single press, double tap, same thing. Howl increases damage by 20% for all. Okay, this is the most important one. There you go. Attack Dog's the most important one because damage is everything. You know how it is.
passively increases the companion's damage.
Damage is always
Their
everything.
howl grants the entire team a damage buff. When it's time to go all out, Attack Dog is the way. Rounding out their kit is the Archetype trait, Kinship. It reduces all friendly fire dealt and received, which works wonders for keeping everyone in the fight. It also allows players who play fast and loose with deadly explosives.
I never did this. Not me? Lies. If anybody told you otherwise, they're like me having a problem with friendly fire. Doesn't sound like me at all. I have no idea what you're talking about. But remember my black hole gun? Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a piece of trash. Screw you. Yeah, see, Kegrin was the problem. Him and his stupid ass friendly fire. But see, this is actually a good thing. I like the fact that these games have friendly fire. I'm actually going to be making a video about that whole shockproof tweet that I made for Monster Hunter recently, which is very much an in-depth video about essentially the removal of friendly fire in Monster Hunter and how everybody's celebrating it. And I'm like, no, you need to have things like this so that it makes sense for you to position yourself in a certain way and actually coordinate with your friends. I think friendly fire is an important thing in games and actually makes games more fun. I don't care. I feel like nowadays, too many people are focused on the whole aspect of like, no, my performance. Anything that damages my performance is a problem. Like if I don't have 100% uptime on the boss because of a random inconvenience of another person, that the world ends. It's that simple. It's like, no. There should be inconveniences. There should be things that you need to figure out with your team. And, you know, there should be downsides to playing as a team.
A bit more leeway. The companion can never truly die. If overwhelmed in combat, they'll lay down to rest until the handler has a chance to encourage them back on their feet. Come on, buddy. Players who love teamwork and want their very own loyal companion will find themselves right at home with the handler. Solo or co-op, teamwork makes the dream work.
This one feels like an archetype that is much more focused on multiplayer, in my opinion. Even though you can play it solo, I think that this one will excel in multiplayer. Okay, the Challenger. Let's see what this one's about.
In Remnant 2, you'll often find yourself in dangerous combat scenarios. When you want to stare death directly in the face and laugh, it's time for the Challenger. This is Tragic from Gunfire Games, bringing you another archetype breakdown. The Challenger is the close to mid-range destroyer. They intimidate their enemies with their mere presence and administer brutal damage to anyone foolish enough to cross their path. Their perks are designed around dealing heavy damage, wearing heavy armor, and heavily reducing the damage of all nearby enemies.
See, when it comes to these types of things, I'm always like, reducing damage in a shooter with multiple difficulties. Like, no joke, 9 times out of 10 in games, this stuff straight up does not work. You're like, I want to be the tanky class. I'm going to put on defensive perks. Your defensive perks mean jack shit if you get one shot. Don't matter. Doesn't matter if you put 1,000,000 defensive perks. If the mob's one shot, you whatever. Like Outriders, it's yeah. I remember Outriders had something like that. But yeah. It's like when you put a class whose focus is in being able to be extremely defensive, I don't know if I've ever seen it work. I don't know if I've ever seen it work in a shooter type environment, a class that is actually defensive. I don't know if I've ever seen that stuff work. I'll be real. I don't know if I've ever seen it work, because like usually when you start it'll work in the earlier levels of the game, like in the earlier difficulties. Sure, it'll probably work there, no problem. But once you start advancing through the difficulties, there's never been a game where it's like, oh yeah, I want to put points into defense. No, you don't. Like no, you don't. Forget about that. It just doesn't happen.
But wait, there's more. The key to their fearlessness is the prime perk, Die Hard.
Okay.
When the
Wait. My man's got a perk called Die Hard? When receiving fatal damage, the challenger becomes invulnerable for 5 seconds and regenerates 100% of max health. Can only happen once every 10 minutes. Well,
when the challenger receives fatal damage, they pound the ground in anger and let the enemy know, not today. Though on a long cooldown, Die Hard allows the challenger a second chance to finish the fight. And fighting is the challenger's specialty. Their first skill, War Stomp, rattles the ground and sends a high-impact shockwave towards their foes. Multiple charges makes dealing with swarms of enemies or staggering a resilient elite light work. Their second skill, Juggernaut,
I am the Juggernaut! Become nearly unstoppable, gaining Bulwark L3, increased movement and melee speed, and 50% increased melee damage, stagger damage reduced by 1, lasts 25 seconds. Okay, look. I know that a lot of people are going to look at this as like, Rurikhan, this is your class, the tanky boy. This is it. This is the one that you want. In reality, in a shooter, I know better than this. Nah, I'm not even sure if I'm going to consider it. Sorry.
Turns the challenger into an unrelenting, unstoppable force.
Like, this is stuff that works out on the easier difficulties. When you start ramping things up, just forget about this whole playstyle. 9 times out of 10, forget about this whole playstyle in the harder difficulties, all right? I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm saying I haven't seen it
brush
done.
off impacts and gain a buff to movement speed, melee speed, and melee damage.
Oh yeah, hyper armor so that you can die faster.
Their third skill, Rampage.
Rampage. Enters a heightened state of battle, which increases fire rate by 15%, reload speed by 20%. This is the best skill that I've seen so far for this class. It makes you shoot faster. Yes. Dealing high damage to enemies grants 1 stack of rage, which increases range damage by 5% per stack. Upon reaching 10 stacks, the challenger goes berserk, which reloads their current firearm and doubles rampage effects for 20 seconds. See, this is the best skill for this class. This is the skill that you're going to be playing on the higher levels. All right, that's how it goes.
Page creates an all-out killing machine. The challenger immediately gains a fire rate, reload speed, and movement speed buff. As they deal damage, they gain rage stacks, which further increases range damage. When they've attained maximum stacks, the challenger goes berserk, which doubles all bonuses. Absolute, unadulterated destruction. Rounding out their kit is the Archetype trait, Strongback.
You can carry stuff.
It reduces armor encumbrance, allowing players to wear heavier armor without the weight penalty.
Everybody's going to want to play this archetype at some point so that they can equip heavier armor on their other archetypes. That's that's the reason people are going to play this archetype. Is just like, oh, hey, I see you're playing the challenger. Yep, I'm just getting the perk. Oh, okay. Yep, just getting my perk. Yep.
An amazing unlock that can mesh well in any build where you want toughness and agility. Players who enjoy being in the thick of battle while overpowering any foe that steps in their path will love the Challenger. If death is the question, Challenger is the answer.
Looks interesting, but like I said, this is the type of class that you play on a lower difficulty, in my opinion. Usually, in most games, from my experience. So, you know, it is what it is. And then we have the medic. Now, this is definitely a multiplayer type class.
The most important element of navigating the apocalypse is staying alive. And there's no better choice for keeping the squad in tip-top shape than the medic. This is Tragic from Gunfire Games, showcasing one of my favorite archetypes. The medic is the master of healing and relics. They heal more than any other archetype, and they do it much more efficiently. Their perks are designed around keeping the team in the fight. They're exceptionally adept at recovering from their own injuries while being resilient to interrupts during relic use. Because of this, the medic is always ready to help. The cornerstone to their healing abilities is the prime perk, Regenerator. When the medic has restored enough health to themselves or allies, including companions, they regain a relic charge. Even better, both relic and skill healing contribute to Regenerator. And skills are where you can really customize your recovery style. Their first skill, Wellspring, sees the medic punch a hole in the ground to generate a refreshing well of healing energy. It's the most efficient healing skill, but it's limited by its size and static nature. Their second skill, Healing Shield, conjures a protective barrier around all allies. While the shield's active, players constantly gain a small amount of health over time.
I just had this thought. Imagine 3 players playing medic. Imagine 3 players playing medic. Yep. I heal you, you heal me, he heals us. It's all good. Medic sounds like might be a better tank than Challenger, probably.
It's a great option to protect an ally dangerously low on health, but also works well to provide healing to a mobile party. Their third skill, Redemption, is the ultimate healing ability. At its core, it's a chargeable skill that applies an increasingly potent heal over time. Redemption revives all down allies and grants massive regeneration.
Yep.
Which quickly gets the team back in shape and allows
most
them to brush
important
off
archetype.
damage. A true Hail Mary. Rounding out their kit is the archetype trait, Triage. It increases healing effectiveness, which further cements the medic as the master of health recovery. No one does powerful heals like the medic. Players who enjoy keeping their entire team in peak fighting form.
Actually, you guys know what would work really well is if you go with the medic, and then you swap over to the handler, and then you have the dog constantly regenerating with a bunch of healing on top of it. First you do the medic, then you swap over to handler with the 50% healing bonus. That's got to be one hell of a potent archetype.
Will feel right at home with the medic. They fit in any size team and provide
hardcore ladder top 10
that
is 10
no other
medics.
archetype possesses, making the apocalypse a little less daunting. The rest comes down to bullets. Lots and lots of bullets. Call an ambulance,
the damage.
but not for me.
Call an ambulance, but not for me. I mean, the damage comes from the guns. Most of the damage in the original Remnant came from guns. Like, you had skills, sure, and stuff that would increase the damage, but guns is ultimately what matters, especially with the stuff that we talked about earlier of the mutators. So, like, guns and mods, most of the damage comes from those. So the important thing, especially if you're going on the higher difficulty levels, is surviving. Like right now, from what I have seen, I think that it actually sounds really good to go medic into handler. That actually sounds like the class that I might end up playing. I go medic up to level 10, swap the handler, get that healing mod, get the support dog, and boom, let's go. But we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. Now, I got a couple of more videos here. These are from IGN. These were actually released like 3 months ago. I haven't really seen them yet, so we're going to be checking these out. And in case IGN doesn't like me using their videos, for starters, it is fair use, but if you guys don't want me to use it, I'll just cut this part of the stream at a later time.
In nearly every way, Remnant 2 feels like it's shaping up to be a proper sequel to Gunfire Games' underrated Souls-like from 2019. Lovingly referred to as Dark Souls with guns by its community.
I'm not sure that I would call it underrated. It is a very good game. I think the base game is underrated. DLCs, I was not, like I said, there were a lot of problems. There was a lot. The game was really good. No, I guess underrated is right. The game was really good, and there were a lot of good things about the game, but the game also had quite a few technical problems, which I'm hoping we don't see this time around.
Remnant from the Ashes punched above its weight in many ways, with just a handful of scrappy indie developers.
This footage, by the way, is from the original Remnant.
Working on the project at the outset. 4 years later, that team has the support of its new titanic parent company, Embracer Group, and has ballooned to over 60 people and counting. And in my time...
Embracer Group? But they're with Gearbox. Did Embracer buy Gearbox? Am I in some strange... bizarro world? Did Embracer buy Gearbox? Dude, the DLC was fantastic. Yes, but it had technical problems. You're not going to tell me that it didn't have technical... Like, I don't see Embracer Group anywhere here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, they did. Look. The Gearbox publishing logo is a trademark of Gearbox Enterprises. We are part of Embracer Group. Holy shit. I did not remember, or maybe I never even knew, that Embracer Group bought Gearbox. This is news to me.
Playing Remnant 2, the results of
these bros are buying everything. They're just like, yep, we're buying everything. We're Embracer. We own everyone. It's that simple.
that doubling down were clear. This sequel seems like it's going to absolutely rule. The gunplay is heads and tails above its predecessor. The build crafting is an RPG nerd's dream. The enemies and bosses are relentless and badass, and the vastly improved procedural generation engine is one of the most ambitious things I've seen from a Souls-like in a very long time.
This is looking good.
The night before I got my hands on Remnant 2, I spent my time replaying the first game in my hotel room, and the thing that immediately struck me when booting up the sequel was just how much better it looks. Where From the Ashes was a bit drab aesthetically, Remnant 2 is absolutely bursting
better
with
colors,
color and detailed characters. Whether I was hanging around the rustic sanctuary of Ward 13 or running through Yesha under the glow of an eerie crimson sun, the leap forward is no...
Don't be real. The more I think about things nowadays, the less I care about visuals. I mean, the latest game that I'm completely addicted to has these visuals. Okay, listen, guys. My latest addiction. Let me show you. Okay, my latest addiction looks like this. Okay, this is how much I care about graphics right now. All right.
Your facelift. It's a complete overhaul. But more importantly, Remnant 2 feels much more on par with its third-person shooter peers than its predecessor in terms of both movement and combat. For starters, melee combat
That's good because the original one did feel a little bit clunky in some things, but because it was quite the unique game concept, I was like, oh, no, it's fine. It's whatever. It's a little bit clunky, but it's playable.
Not only a practical option compared to the first game's wimpy slashing, but it actually feels good to get up close and beat someone down when bullets just won't do. I used everything from shotguns to rifles, and even a crossbow, and each felt satisfying and ferocious, even if some felt a bit overpowered in the early version I played. The number of enemies and dastardly ways they attack you also seems like
it's not overpowered. It's journalist difficulty.
a step up, just from the small number of biomes I was able to explore. Whether I was fighting giant slippery lizards, floating tentacled aliens, or creepy root-infested cultists, there was always a new enemy waiting around every corner. Boss fights have also been tuned up, especially when it comes to the first game's irritating overuse of ads during them. Gunfire Games clearly heard the feedback from players loud and clear, and most bosses I took down either made light use of them or made them the primary obstacle, while some other puzzle waited to be solved. For example, I fought one boss called the Mother Mind, a giant plant monster who bombarded me with explosive pollen, and faced only a few floating ads in between damage phases. While in another fight against an enemy called Legion, a dark deity who tried to drive my character insane, I fought off waves of ads while trying to figure out the trick to overcoming the boss's maddening gaze. Moving around has also been reworked, as jumping between gaps is now possible, and my prayers have been answered regarding the first game's most annoying feature, the stamina meter. Now it only applies during combat, meaning you don't have to worry about getting arbitrarily slowed down every few seconds when exploring the world. Jumping around and climbing makes exploration and engaging the bad guys a lot more interesting, since clever use of verticality.
Yeah, like when you realize that this map has got all of this verticality and all of it is procedurally generated, you start to see just how impressive it is. However, it's also important to mention that this is going to depend on how well the assets, how well the asset boxes are placed. Because if you start going through the map and you're like, oh, I recognize this, and I recognize this tile set, I recognize this, and then it starts getting, so it needs to have a lot of variety. You can't just be like, oh, I recognize this tile set layup, so I already know that up ahead there's this thing, up ahead there's that thing, blah, blah, blah. So it all depends on how well they implement that.
Gaps between you and your enemy allow for some fun moments. Plus, now there's dozens of exciting new ways to fall to your death, something I was apparently fond of doing. The sequel's killer feature, though, is the ambitious improvements it aims to make to its procedurally generated levels. Where the first Remnant mixed up the layout of levels in which enemies would spawn, Remnant 2 takes it to an entirely new level by randomly generating practically every element of your adventure. In fact, even the tutorial will differ from player to player, as the starting area is assigned randomly between a few different options. Beyond that, you can expect boss fights, side quests, NPCs, and storylines to all differ from that of your friends, making each new playthrough feel like a significantly different experience. Finally, there's the numerous ways in which character build crafting has been improved. Instead of picking a base class and slapping on a few weapons and modifiers from there, Remnant 2 has a staggering number of options for you to choose from, like its fantastic multi-class system that lets you mix and match archetypes like the Gunslinger or the Handler to create a unique cocktail of perks and abilities. Beyond that, the number of trinkets and items you can use to customize your build has been expanded, including new ways to customize your Dragonheart healing item that may prove to be a game changer for players. I played quite a bit of Remnant from the Ashes, but everything I've seen from its sequel points to Remnant 2 being my next addiction. Simply put, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Here's hoping the finished product turns out as promising as my early peek at it suggested.
Good stuff.
For more, check out our interview with Remnant.
Okay, there is an interview, which is this one. Short interview. Wait, so did you just link the one that I'm watching right now? Okay.
One big change we made for Remnant 2 was that we randomized the storyline. So if you go in and you fight a mini-boss, and another player goes in and fight a mini-boss in an area, they might have a completely different boss. You might have different events, there's different random events that occur in the game, and even the layouts of the dungeons change and everything changed. You played Remnant 1, and you both start the game, you're both gonna go into the city, you're gonna find a big tower and save a lady in a church. Those beats were always the same, even if the mini bosses and the side dungeons switched out. But in this game, even that's randomized. When you go to a new area of the game, you'll get a random storyline. So even if you're in the same world, for instance, because there's multiple worlds in Remnant, you might get a different storyline. And they are pre-designed storylines. We designed them, we scripted them out. You know, we have the high level beats and that stuff, but there's multiple per world. So not only could you get a different world from another player, you might get a different storyline within that world. And it is a full storyline with its own NPCs, its own world boss, everything's all completely different.
I'll be very curious.
Let's say
to see
by
how that
chance you got
works
the
out.
same storyline, and by chance you got the same mini bosses, which is highly unlikely. Even within those dungeons, the tiles you get and the events that occur are going to be different. So the number of permutations pretty much ensures that two people playing the same area are going to get a different experience.
Glad that's over.
The way the world's generated is it starts at the high level. So the first thing it'll do when you go into a new area is determine, hey, what high level storyline are you going to play? And then within that storyline, there might be multiple dungeons. Say it has a certain number of side dungeons or a certain amount of mini boss dungeons. And within those dungeons, all the tiles themselves, which is how the maps are built, are randomized. Within a world, there's multiple different biomes, so you'll get different dungeon types, you'll get different overworld types, and they all have their own different types of creatures. So if you get mini boss A, you might fight these types of enemies within this environment, like floating islands or whatever. And if you get mini boss B, you might fight a different type of enemies inside of a crypt. So there's a lot of variety in the experience. You know, even again, if you play through one area and you play through that same area again, you're going to see different enemies, different environments.
3-player co-op.
The main reason we wanted to do procedural generation because we didn't want people to experience the same thing twice. I have an anecdote where like I can't play a game more than once for some reason. If I've done something, I can't do it again. The huge incentive here was like, hey, I want to make a game that I would actually play through more than once. That's our dream, is you're either talking to each other while you're playing, or you come back to work, or you're watching a stream and you're like, wait, that's not what I did, or like, where are you stuck? Oh, I got stuck on this boss. He's this guy with big horns and he does this weird move, and you're like, I've never even seen that guy. I don't even know what world you're talking about. And we think that'll be pretty unique for the player because I don't think I've ever played a game like that where we can jump in and we're a couple hours into the game and it's like, oh, you're in this crazy world that looks like this, and I'm in a crazy world that looks completely different with different storylines and quests. And you could play 2 full games with not a single repeated element. And that's kind of how we gauged how much content we wanted to make for each area. That's a pretty unique experience.
That sounds very interesting and very promising. We'll have to see if they actually deliver on that or not. But that's kind of like all of the information that we had up until this point. So I was already interested based on the sole fact that like I liked the original Remnant. I thought the original Remnant was pretty cool, with the exception of, like I said, the technical problems of the DLC that I bought, which was Subject 2983 or whatever the hell it was. Things in that DLC were real bad. It was real. The technical issues were real bad. So assuming that all of that is solved, like I have absolute faith in this team to deliver a fantastic experience. So I'm definitely going to be checking it out on release. I'm going to be streaming it on release. Might even do some guides depending on how things play themselves out, time allowing, all of that jazz. But yeah, I'm jumping in day 1 on Remnant 2. Hopefully you guys will be curious about that. No, it is not. This is not roguelike. It simply has randomized stories. So the intent is that you play through the campaign multiple times to get the whole thing. But summarizing everything that we've seen so far, this is a third-person shooter. You're going to have archetypes that is going to allow you to essentially craft your own class depending on the perks that you assign to it and the things that you equip your character with, as well as the mods that you put on your weapons. So your class in and of itself, your class is going to have a lot of variety. A lot of different playstyles are going to be available too. Even in the original Remnant, you had a bunch of different playstyles that you could do if you're able to find the right items to do them. So then you also have the aspect of randomization, both of levels and now apparently of the campaign. The campaign itself is randomized from player to player. Pretty cool. Then you have the co-op element. And let me tell you, the original one was way more fun in co-op than it was in single player. I'm not sure if we could do a co-op playthrough or not, because it all depends on, scheduling and all of this other stuff. So we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, I like what I'm seeing. I like all of the features that we talked about, and I think Remnant 2 is going to be a lot of fun. But whether or not you should get it, I would wait until you actually see some gameplay, because I'm going to be showing some gameplay. Most likely I'm going to be playing on PlayStation 5 if everything goes according to plan. or it's either PlayStation 5 or PC. I'm not sure at this point. I probably prefer playing on PlayStation 5 because then I might be able to play it with friends, but we'll see how that pans out. But anyways, yeah, that's going to be it for this stream. That was our deep dive into Remnant 2. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to take a break. Probably going to be working on another video, which I might post tomorrow or something. We'll see how that pans out. But for now, it's going to be it. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification icon, all of that jazz, and stay tuned for more Remnant 2 stuff as we move ahead. See you guys later. Have a good one. Peace out, team.